So after the Worlds qualifiers, I took like a week off of Master Duel because turns out that when you play 300 games of Yu-Gi-Oh in 3 days, you have a pretty high chance of burning yourself out. Weird. So yeah, after that, I came back and I wanted to knock out this Master 1, and I didn't want to play any of the decks that I was using to prep for the Worlds qualifiers because if I played another game of Blue-Eyes, I was honestly gonna lose it. So instead, we played this deck to finish off our Master 1 run for this month. We're playing 60 card Centur-Ion Fiendsmith Bystial. Like, you know what, weird, another 60 card Fiendsmith deck. Now, personally, you know, I know a lot of people are sick of Fiendsmith and they want it banned, and honestly, I kind of want the Fiendsmith cards hit too. Like, for me personally, for a very personal reason, I want the Fiendsmith cards hit because my deck building has completely deteriorated with the introduction of these cards in Master Duel. The amount of 60 card decks and this Fiendsmith slop piles that I've made in Master Duel after these cards have been introduced have gone up by like 2,000%. As you know, you saw it last month. I've also made a Master 1 deck with which was just a 60 card Fiendsmith pile. This is yet another 60 card Fiendsmith pile, and I'm probably cursed to play. I feel like I'm gonna be cursed to just play 60 card Fiendsmith piles for the rest of my life until fucking Engraver or like this engine either gets banned or power crept. So yeah, here's another one to add to the list of just Fiendsmith piles, which is Centur-Ion Fiendsmith. And if you're wondering what the Fiendsmith cards do for the Centur-Ion engine or the Centur-Ion deck, well, it's because Fiendsmith is any Fiendsmith starter is full Centur-Ion combo. Because I mean, I'll show it in the replays as well, but basically Centur-Ion or any 2 monsters or any Fiendsmith card, you know, Moon or Engraver, or either get to Moon or just get the Requiem directly. You go to Requiem, you go Lacrima, you dump the Engraver, you summon back the Engraver, you link these two into sequence, you go sequence, shuffle back 2 Fiends, and then make Lacrima special summon back the other Lacrima, and then you link Lacrima plus sequence into Lina. And then you equip the sequence to the Lacrima, and then you have this neat card here, which this card that has been dropped by most other decks because it takes up too much extra deck space, and honestly it does take up too much extra deck space. I'm not gonna lie, that's maybe one of the main flaws of this build, but you can use this, you can fusion summon this by sending a spellcaster monster and any fusion synchro or Xyz link monster. So you send the Lina to the graveyard and you send the sequence that's equipped to the Lacrima to summon Chorozo. And Chorozo is a level 4, but it is also a tuner. So a level 4 tuner Magician's Chorozo plus the level 4 non-tuner Lacrima gets you your Primite Primus, and then Primite Primus adds Emblem of Oath. And then there's your Centur-Ion combo right there. Now Fiendsmith is full Centur-Ion combo. So yeah, in case you didn't know, that's well, now you do, and that is one of the reasons to play the Fiendsmith engine in Centur-Ion. The other reason is because just Fiendsmith in general, it also helps you play through disruption. For example, let's say you lead with your Centur-Ion starter, like let's say Primera or Tridea or whatever, and you get hand trapped or whatever. All you gotta do is get 1 extra body on the field. Any old monster on the field. You could, depending on what you started with, you could just special summon any of your 13 Bystials, or like if you didn't even normal summon, for example, you started with like Emblem of Oath, or you started with stand-up Centur-Ion, you can normal summon a hand trap, and then also then your second monster plus your hand trap Centur-Ion monster can go into Moon, and then Moon into this Requiem, and then Requiem can go into your Fiendsmith combo, and then guess what? Because you got Fiendsmith combo, you also have Centur-Ion combo, so you can do Centur-Ion combo through interruption much more easier too. Instead of before, extending with Centur-Ion might have been a little weird, because in order to properly actually extend with Centur-Ion, you have to have very specific extenders. For example, most of the time you have to hard draw Emblem of Oath directly in order to actually extend on your Primera or like your Tridea getting hand trapped, either stand up or Emblem of Oath directly, which is only like 6 cards in your deck. But now, if you play the Fiendsmith engine in your Centur-Ion deck, now you can have literally almost any Bystial. It's also an extender now, so you have way more extenders to play through getting Handtraps. So you actually can play through Destruction a bit more, which is one of the issues Centurion had before, was that sometimes Centurion would get stopped very easily. It struggled to play through Disruption. But if you just increase the amount of extenders that actually let you get to Centurion combo, aka Fiendsmith combo, it makes you be able to play through Disruption better. And yeah, also on another note, in case you don't open this as Centurion monster, you don't have to open the Centurion monster in order to do your Centurion combo now either, because beyond just the Fiendsmith cards, which we are maxing out on all the good Fiendsmith cards, you're also playing 13 Bystials, and as long as you don't have to draw a Centurion card, but as long as you draw a light or dark hand trap, aka Crow, Veiler, or Ogre, you can just normal summon them, turn them into Almirage, put the hand trap in graveyard, use special summon the Bystial by banishing your hand trap, go into Moon, and then you also have full Fiendsmith combo, which is also full Centurion combo. So even though this deck, technically you do have a bit of a less chance of opening an actual real Centurion starter, because you're playing 60 cards instead of 40 cards. So your deck size gets bigger and you have a less chance of drawing your specific cards. Because the Fiendsmith engine is just because Moon is still in this fucking game, you don't have to draw a Centurion card in order to do your combos. Therefore, all of these hand traps now also become pseudo starters, and I have had to normal summon a hand trap in order to do combo plenty of times, and honestly, it gets the job done a lot of the time. So you can get there by just normal summoning hand traps or summoning Bystial, go into Moon, and then go into full Fiendsmith combo anyway. So yeah. Don't you just love the state that Yu-Gi-Oh is in right now and the state of the Master Duel format? So, yeah, that's basically the gist of it. I'm not gonna say that this is the optimal way to play Centurion or anything. In fact, you could make a definite argument either way of that. Yeah, pure Centurion build without the Fiendsmith cards is better than the Centurion build here with Fiendsmith cards. But I mean, I just wanted to spice it up again. This was mainly because I wanted to play a different deck after Worlds Qualifiers. I wanted to play like a deck that I didn't play normally before, and that I could at least maybe have a bit of more fun with. And I do enjoy playing Centurion. It's just a lot of times I felt like their Centurion, especially in this format, has too many weaknesses. So playing the Fiendsmith cards was an attempt to maybe address some of the weaknesses that Centurion had before, even though it also introduces other weaknesses such as the deck size and like the extra deck, which we'll get to in a bit, and why like the extra deck is a much bigger issue with this build. But yeah, I've been enjoying this. If you're a Centurion enjoyer and like you're tired of losing to one imperm and one hand trap, or like you're tired of like not like opening starters going second or whatever, or you're opening starters, or you're tired of like sometimes you just want to draw Bystials because Centurion is the deck that's best at using Bystials, because you can use Bystials to synchro on your opponent's turn. But a lot of times, Bystials, if you're playing a matchup where Bystials aren't good against, they might not do enough, which, it is true, if Bystials aren't good hand traps in the matchup you're playing against, then they tend to be a bit underwhelming. So, by playing a card like Moon, for example, it lets you get more use out of your Bystials, even when they're not as good of hand traps. So it lets you feel less bad about maxing out on Bystials, even if they're not as good hand traps. They still have additional purpose beyond just that. So, yeah. To go over the deck list, so it's honestly, it looks like a lot. It's a 60 card pile, but it's mostly standard because you'll see that half this deck is fucking hand trapped anyways. But we're playing the same Centurion cards that literally every Centurion deck plays. So like 3 Primarch, 3 Trudea, 3 Stand Up, 3 Emblem of Oath as your starters. Also 1 Bonfire to add the Trudea, and then the bricks, 1 Wake Up, 1 Phalanx, 1 Gargoyle, and 1 Autry. That's another thing about this deck, is that the worst part about Centurion is drawing your fucking bricks. Okay, drawing your 1-ups, drawing your Wake Up, your Brand Regain, your Centurion, Gargoyle, your Phalanx, your Autry. It's like you're playing fucking Blue-Eyes. Okay, the bricks are terrible to draw. So at least when you play 60 cards, you have a significantly lower chance of actually drawing your bricks. Now, I still do draw my bricks all day, even when I'm playing 60 cards. So, you know, doesn't really change for me personally, but maybe it'll change mathematically for you if you're not as unlucky as I am. But yeah, these are this is like the standard Centurion lineup that like every Centurion deck runs. I'm pretty sure every Centurion deck runs these exact same cards. Only one Phalanx, because honestly, especially in this build, you use Phalanx even less often, because there are times where when you extend with your Centurion combo, or when you extend with Fiendsmith, sometimes you don't even need to use the Phalanx, because the Fiendsmith combo just lets you summon the Premier Primates, and then you get to keep the Premier Primates on the field. Sometimes you don't even synchro out the Premier Primate, because you get an extra body when you do your Fiendsmith combo. So sometimes you don't even have to use the Phalanx you don't even have to dump the Phalanx in grave to revive the Premier Primates, because the Premier Primate is already on the field for you. So yeah, in those cases, you can actually search Phalanx directly sometimes, and then just have Phalanx as an interruption. And there are also times where you don't have enough bodies. For example, if you go through both Drea and Primera, and then you get Handtrap, sometimes you won't have enough bodies to end on Blazar on turn 1. So in that case, you just Auxila and you just search Phalanx anyway. You just search Phalanx, then you don't. And then you make Blazar on your opponent's turn, and that's fine too. You still get the interruption with Phalanx. And yeah, overall, I felt like the second Phalanx in this build, especially with Fiendsmith, is less needed than it would be in you know, a pure Centurion. Although even in pure Centurion, I don't run 2 Phalanx to get this card. Again, the worst part about this deck is drawing the 1-ofs, so I don't want to run more bricks. But yeah, especially in a 60 card build, I maybe missed the second Phalanx one time. But I never want to draw this card, so you know, I think it's worth it to just run 1 Phalanx and then just not draw it as often, as opposed to like the 1 in like 11 or 12 games where the second Phalanx might come up. But yeah, that's the Centur-Ion Engine. Fiendsmith Engine, 1 Lacrima, only 1 Lacrima, because again, this is the Centurion deck, you do kind of want to normal summon your Centurion monsters when you can, so like you don't want to play multiples of Lacrima, even though Lacrima and Lurie by themselves are full Centurion combo. It's just that when you open multiple normal summons, that's not as great. So yeah, just 1 Lacrima and then the 1 Lurie, and then double Engraver and triple Tract. So Tract is very nice. Tract is full Centurion combo, except it doesn't cost a normal summon. So what you normally do is, obviously if you don't have Centurion starters, then you would use your Fiendsmith cards to do the bridge into your Centurion engine. If you do have a Centurion engine, for example, if you have like a Premier or Tridea or any of your 13 Centurion starters and you have Fiendsmith cards, I normally lead with Fiendsmith cards. I use Fiendsmith cards to bait out my opponent's Handtraps. They'll bait out my opponent's Ash Blossom, their Imprint, or whatever. If they use their Handtraps on my Fiendsmith engine, that's great. Then I summon my Centurion starters, and I do my Centurion combo after they already burned their Handtrap. If they don't Handtrap my Fiendsmith engine, then that's also fine, because then instead of bridging into my Centurion engine, because I already have my Centurion engine, instead, if you already have your Centurion engine, you would use your Fiendsmith cards to make a 3-material Appaloosa. So then, either way, you're either baiting out your opponent's Handtraps, or you're making an Appaloosa, and then you're doing your Centurion combo under Appaloosa. So either way, it's a win-win. And yeah, Appaloosa, also can't believe this card is still legal in Master Duel, so you know, we're gonna abuse the cards that are legal in this format, even in decks that aren't traditionally known for playing these cards. But yeah, and no Paradise. I guess I can do Paradise later, but as you can see, we don't even have room for Desiree in the extra deck, so there's really no point playing Paradise. But yeah, that's the Centurion engine, or that's the Fiendsmith engine, and then the rest of the deck, if you couldn't tell, it's just Handtraps and Bystials. Bystials I mentioned before, because Bystials. Because we play Moon, Bystials are even better as extenders than they are in normal Centurion. So yeah, any Bystial plus any light and dark Handtrap or any Centurion monster basically lets you do full combo. And yeah, Lubellion, there are times where you can go second and you go like Nibiru plus Bystial, and then you can do full Centurion combo with Nibiru and a Bystial without normal summoning, which is like hella cursed. But I mean, technically those situations can come up. But yeah, the Handtraps are Crow, Valor, 2 Maxi, Droll. Droll is like, honestly, it's just a cross-off target. Mainly, it's like the 60th card in the deck. 3 Ogre, 3 Ash, the 10 Bystials plus the 3 Lubellion, 3 Nibiru, and 1 Imperm. So the reason for this lineup is Crow, Valor, and Ghost are mainly because they're light and dark hand traps. So as previously mentioned, these are like half starters where you can normal summon them and then turn them into Almirage and then summon a Bystial, and then that's full combo. So I maxed out on the light and dark hand traps, and like just Crow, Valor, and Ghost Ogre are just decent cards. Ogre may be the most suspect because it's mainly good against Blue-Eyes, but Blue-Eyes is still decently popular. It's okay against Crystron sometimes. It's okay against the Millennium Engine. We'll see how popular the Millennium Engine is post-ban list, and so on and so forth. But yeah, and then 3 Nibiru, and then only one Imperm, because Imperm is just a crossout target that as the one-of. You draw a lot of cards on your opponent's turn. You notice how I'm not playing double Blazar just because there's no room for the second Blazar in the extra deck. So instead of my turn 1 setup, instead of making double Blazar as you would see in normal Centur-Ion builds, instead I'm making a Legacia on my opponent's turn. So Legacia is still fine because it means that you get to pop your opponent instead of having a second Omni Negate. Instead you get a pop on your opponent's monster and then another draw. So I'm going to be drawing off of Autry, I'm going to be drawing off of Legacia, and I'm going to be drawing off of Regain as well, if I have it on my opponent's turn. So I'm going to be drawing like up to 3 cards on my opponent's turn. That's why I'm not playing Valor, I'm not playing more Imperm, because you want to draw into live hand traps that you can use on your opponent's turn. So basically hand traps like that you can use from your hand. Imperm is not going to be live on your opponent's turn. That's also why I'm not running mulch armies like Fualas, because you're going to be drawing more cards on your opponent's turn than you are on your turn. And if you draw into mulch armies and Imperm on your opponent's turn, you can't use them. So that's why we're only playing the one Imperm as a crossout target, and the rest are just hand traps that we can draw into and that we can actually use on our opponent's turn. And bonus if they're light and dark as well, because then they can be used as starters too. And oh yeah, speaking of drawing cards, because you usually get a draw off Autry during your combo, sometimes you just hard draw a Fiendsmith card during your turn as well. Like for example, Autry, Draw, Engraver, or Tract is insane, because then you already got your Centur-Ion combo, and then you draw into your Fiendsmith cards, then you get to do your Fiendsmith combo and get an Appaloosa on top of your end board. Like, that's pretty nice. Sometimes if you make Legacia turn 1 too, I usually don't, because I'm not running any more level 12 Synchro, so I kind of want to reserve Legacia for my opponent's turn. But there are instances where you can only make Legacia on your turn. For example, you're locked with like Emblem O, for example. But yeah, in that case, you can draw off Legacia and Regain too. And if you draw any Fiendsmith card off of your draws on your turn, you just get the specifically Tract and Engraver. You just get to do your Fiendsmith combo on your turn too. So that's pretty nice. Also, with your Bystials and Lubellion, with how you use your Lubellion is that if you have Lubellion and you have Centur-Ion combo, usually you just start with your Centur-Ion combo, and then if you get that far, you get to your end. Normally, when you resummon Gargoyle to summon back your Lubellion and get an extra body, instead of just making SP at the end, instead you can do your full Fiendsmith combo instead. You can turn your Lubellion plus your Lubellion Search Magnum up plus the Gargoyle. You can turn that instead of just ending on the SP on top of your end board. You get to do your Fiendsmith combo on top of your end board too. So yeah, that's not you guys sick of this engine yet? Yeah. And then as for the extra deck, so the extra deck, this is the main reason why I would not consider this deck to be strictly superior, or why I wouldn't consider Fiendsmith Centur-Ion to be strictly superior to just pure Centur-Ion, because the extra deck, yeah, here are the other options. Here's the options that I could not include in the extra deck. Legitimately, this is a deck where the extra deck is more tight than literally any other deck I've played. Literally, you can have a 20 card extra deck, and it still would not be enough. So, yeah, I think these are the 15 most important cards in the extra deck, and I'll go over the stuff that we unfortunately could not fit in here. But yeah, Chorozo is needed for the combo, obviously. Lacrima is necessary. Premier Primus is necessary. Chaos Angel as our level 10 synchro over Baron, because Chaos Angel is just more versatile, because you can make Chaos Angel with Trudea, because Trudea is not a tuner, so that in itself, it just makes this more important than Baron, in my opinion. And also, you're going to be mainly making level 10 synchros on your opponent's turn, so Chaos Angel is honestly, I like Chaos Angel better than making Baron on my opponent's turn, because just being able to banish, and then in combination with Jerusalem, so you can get the banished one and then send one with Jerusalem and Chaos Angel. That's That's pretty nice. And Chaos Angel, also keep in mind, Chaos Angel, when it's made with dark monsters, or when it's made with a dark monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle. This also goes for Legacia. Legacia has the first line of text in Legacia is your monsters with 2,000 or less attack cannot be destroyed by battle. But basically, you make a Chaos Angel or you make a Legacia, it means your Appaloosa cannot be destroyed by battle. Essentially, Appaloosa, obviously with Chaos Angel it's obvious, but with Legacia, you usually have a 2400 Appaloosa. You use your Appaloosa negate once, Appaloosa goes down to 1600, and now it has less than 2k attack, which means that now Legacia protects your Appaloosa from battle. Which means that usually, aside unless your opponent has like a board breaker or like Super Volley, your opponent's gonna have to eat through all of your Appaloosa negates when you're playing against Centur-Ion 2, or when they're playing against this deck as well. So yeah, that's even more synergy, man. Don't you guys love this card? But yeah, the Blazar, only room for one Blazar. I could not find room for a second one, like goddamn. So as I mentioned before, instead of going for double Blazar setups, we're going for Blazar plus the Legacia setups on our opponent's turn, which is almost as good. And I honestly, against non-backrow decks, that's even better. It can even be better because you get the Legacia disruption to pop a card, and you get a draw, which is potentially a second interruption by drawing any hand traps. So yeah, Crimson Dragon, Auxila, Almirage. So again, it's important because it's important for one, if your Trudea gets hand trapped, you can link off Trudea and then put a Dark in graveyard for your Bystial. But also, as previously mentioned, Almirage lets you turn any of your light and dark hand traps into pseudo starters too. So that's why I include this. I think it's pretty necessary. The Fiendsmith Engine, Requiem, sequence, Requiem, Moon sequence is all necessary. Appaloosa is necessary as a payoff. And SP and Lina. Lina is necessary for the combo, and SP just because it's SP. And yeah, here are the cards I couldn't include. These are like all the cards I would love to include any number of these, but I just couldn't. Doom Dragon comes up a lot. When you're playing Fiendsmith Centur-Ion, you can have a lot of monsters in your back row. One, you can have like a Trudea in your back row from your Centur-Ion Engine. Then you can have Requiem plus sequence in your back row with Doom Dragon. So Doom Dragon actually comes up hella often in this build. Unfortunately, there's just no room for it. Even though it being a level 8 non-tuner is also relevant because then it helps you make level 12 synchros too. But you just don't have room for this. Desiree would be my 16th extra deck card because number one, it's just another target for sequence. It is the part of the Fiendsmith Engine which you are running. Number two is that I would be playing Paradise here because a lot of times you're gonna use your Fiendsmith Engine to just bait out Handtraps first to try to bait out Inherims and Veilers, and oftentimes you will go into sequence and they will Veiler your sequence. If you were playing Desiree plus Paradise, you would still have an interruption even if they Imperm you, because then you would have the Lacrima sending Paradise on your opponent's turn to send Desiree. Also, straight up, if you just hard open Engraver, even if you do your Fiendsmith combo, even if you do your Shuffle back, you will still have enough light fiends in your graveyard. You will still have Lacrima plus Engrave plus Requiem in your graveyard for the Paradise send Desiree line, even if you resolve sequence if you open Engraver. So yeah, also you can just straight up just make Desiree as a fusion target off sequence too. Like I generally really want to play this, but there's just no room. I don't know what to cut. I don't think there's a cut. Like the one flex spot you could argue is SP, but at that point, I think if you're getting to the point where you're considering cutting SP Little Knight for another option, I think you should just stop trying to put more cards in the extra deck because it's probably just not meant to be. Speaking of not meant to be, Baron, as I mentioned, I like Chaos Angel better than Baron as a level 10 synchro. Chaos Angel being a dark monster and being a light dark, so you can also recycle Chaos Angel with Regain. So even though you only have one level 10 synchro, it's like as long as you have Regain, you have access to infinite Chaos Angels. So I have recycled Chaos Angel and used it and summoned them multiple times in the same duel where you could not do that with Baron. So yeah, there's no room for Baron. Baron is like the card I missed the least, honestly. Blazar, I would love to play a second Blazar. That way we can do the normal double Blazar setups, but Legacia Blazar is almost as good as double Blazar. DDK Wave High King Caesar as another payoff for like the Fiendsmith Engine, for example. The reason I chose Appaloosa over Caesar as the payoff is because Appaloosa, sometimes you can make Appaloosa even if your Fiendsmith Engine gets Handtrap. For example, if your sequence gets hand trapped, there's like no real way you can actually make DDK high wave King Caesar because you just can't get 2 level 6 fiends on the field. But if you go sequence and your sequence gets imperm, if you still have like your Centur-Ion combo, there are lines where you can access Centur-Ion monster on the field, and then you can actually use the sequence as a link to still be able to go into Appaloosa later on at the end of your turn, especially if you have a Bystial as well. So you can still make Appaloosa even if your sequence gets impermed if you have other extenders, whereas you will never be able to make sequence. You will never be able to make Caesar if your sequence gets stopped. Typhon, I mean, this deck plays 29. Plays like 28, 29 hand traps, so like obviously Typhon comes up a lot here. Artemis is like probably the 17th card after Desiree. Artemis is the next card I want to include in here because Artemis, crucially, there's one thing that's missing in this deck, and that's being able to link off Primera. You can link off any light dark hand trap, you can link off Trudea into Almirage, but if your Primera gets hand trapped, then it's a bit rougher because then you have less ways to extend because you can't link off Primera into Almirage obviously. So like the only way to link off the Primera to get into the grave so that you can have a light to summon your Bystial Whip is by linking it off into Artemis. That way, if you play Artemis and Almirage, no matter what happens to your normal summon, you can always link off your normal summon, and then you can always summon a Bystial because your normal summon is light and dark. Without Artemis, crucially, you're missing the ability to turn your Primera into a way to get a light or dark monster in the graveyard to extend your Fiendsmith. So that's I have missed Artemis plenty of times. I actually really want to include, more than anything, I want to include Desiree and Artemis in the extra deck, but I can't even include one extra on the extra deck. There's no way I'm including 2. Also, Necrocrypt. Again, Necrocrypt, I would love to play this card too. Fun fact, did you know that if you send a monster off stand-up for stand-up's effect, you get to draw off Necrocrypt Princess? Because a monster was sent to the graveyard to activate a card or effect. Unfortunately, you'll just have to take my word for it, because there's no Centur-Ion deck in the world, there's no Fiendsmith Centur-Ion deck in the world that has room for Necrocrypt, which is unfortunate, because again, I would love that too. I would love to draw an extra card off of my combo for free, but I just can't. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 8 extra deck cards in here that I would love to play. I need a 23 card extra deck to play literally everything I want to play in this extra deck. That's, yeah, I'm missing. It's like I'm missing a third of my extra deck just by playing this deck. It's actually wild how many cards I want to fit in, but I can't. But yeah, that's the. Hopefully you, with my my yapping, I've given you you understand this deck at least somewhat. If not, if you still have questions, obviously leave them in the comments. But first, watch my replays to see if your question won't be answered. But just by watching gameplay of this, I can see how this deck actually works. So this is an example of what the Fiendsmith cards add to the deck and how they help the deck combo. So we're gonna start with Trudea, and then Trudea plays Primera, special Primera, and Primera gets Ash Blossom. So this is kind of annoying, not gonna lie. In this specific build, I really again wish I could have room for Artemis in the extra deck, because if we have Artemis in the extra deck, this would be really simple. You would just link off Primera into Artemis, and then banish Artemis for Druidstorm, and then you would do full Fiendsmith combo, and it would be simple as that. It's like our opponent didn't even hand trap us. But unfortunately, I don't have room for Artemis in the extra deck, as you all know. So look what we have to resort to. Okay, we're gonna have to use DD Crow my opponent's Ash Blossom, so I can put the DD Crow in graveyard, and then I banish the DD Crow for Druidstorm, and like the things you gotta do, man. Like if I could reasonably give up one of these extra deck slots to put in a fucking Artemis, I would do it in a heartbeat, because that would just have made this entire ordeal so much easier. But at the end of the day, we do get 2 bodies on the field, and that's all you need to do when you're playing a Fiendsmith deck. Just get 2 bodies on the field, and you're Gucci. So now Druidstorm plus Primera go into Moon, and now we do the entire Fiendsmith line. So now we go Fiendsmith, Moon into Requiem, Requiem into Lacrima, dump Engraver, special Engraver, shuffle back Moon, Engraver plus Lacrima go into Sequence, shuffle back Engraver plus Requiem to summon Lacrima, revive the main deck Lacrima, and then Lacrima plus Sequence go into Lina, and then equip Sequence to Lacrima, and then send Sequence plus Lina for Chorozo, and then Chorozo plus the level 4 Lacrima, because Chorozo is a tuner, can go into Primera Primus, then Primera Primus can add us our Emblem Oath. And now we have combo again. So in order to extend through any of your Centur-Ion monsters getting hand-trapped, all you need is to get any monster on field. You don't need to draw a specific extender anymore like you do with a pure Centur-Ion deck. Like, for example, you have to usually, like, the only extender in that case we could have drawn is hard drawn as Emblem of Oath. Instead, we could draw any of our 13 Bystials, and then we still lets us do our full combo through any hand trap. So here, we're going to use Emblem Oath to place the stand-up Centur-Ion, activate stand-up. I'm going to pitch the other Primera in hand to place Autry, special Autry, draw a card, draw back the Crow that we discard. So it's like we never pitched the Crow in the first place. But yeah, then we're going to go Auxila with Primera plus Autry. Auxila will add Wake Up, and then we'll use Wake Up to summon a level 4 token. And then Wake Up will send Phalanx to the graveyard. And here I'm just going to go into end phase so we can do the rest of the end phase. Use Phalanx, revive the Primera Primus with the level 4 token with stand-up can now make Crimson Dragon. And now Crimson Dragon target Auxila, make Blazar, and then Auxila place back Autry. So through the hand trap on our Centur-Ion starter, as long as you get the full Fiendsmith combo, as long as you can get any other body on board, you get to still do your full combo. We still end on Blazar and with an Autry plus Trudea in the back row, which lets us draw a card off the Autry and then make another level 12 synchro. And in this case, we're ideally going to make Legacia, so we still get two additional draws plus a pop with Legacia plus a Blazar negate. So this entire combo through a hand trap is still like 3 draws plus negate plus two more we still have 2 more cards in hand, and we're going to draw into more non-ninja most likely on our opponent's turn too. So yeah, not bad, pretty decent. Our opponent's playing Tenpai, so they're going to activate Lightning Storm, and then Droplet, send Fadra plus Lightning Storm, so now I can't respond with any of these, so unfortunately my Trudea and my Autry are dead, and my Blazar gets negated. Now, funny thing is that because a Centur-Ion monster left the field, or Centur-Ion card left the field, we can summon back Primera Primus. And Primera Primus, secret effect, in case you didn't know, cannot be destroyed unless it was special summoned from the extra deck. This Primera Primus was not special summoned from the extra deck, it was special summoned from the graveyard. So actually, this is insanely annoying for Tenpai to deal with, because Tenpai can't just run over this by battle. They have to actually go into a different synchro and actually out this in a different way and waste some of their material, because this cannot be destroyed by battle anymore. You can run into this as many times as you want with Tenpai monsters. It's not going to work. That being said, they're going to normal summon Dora, which just gets Veilored anyway, so I mean, they had 2 cards in hand. We have Veiler, Crow. I don't think they were going to win anyways. Especially, they were going to be able to find a way to OTK through a 4K attack, 4K defense monster, a 3K defense monster, and a monster that can't be destroyed by battle. Okay, that field itself, even after it got droplet, it's kind of hard for Tenpai to deal with already. But the fact that we also have 2 more hand traps on top of it after doing full combo through their hand traps. So, yeah, that's one example of how Fiendsmith helps the Centur-Ion deck. So now we got a game versus someone from T2, Dominic, and we're going first. And this hand, honestly, it's pretty good. When you draw a stand-up Centur-Ion plus Emblem Oath, those are like the 2 best extenders and starters in your deck, because there's like 2 ways to extend and start your plays without even using a normal summon. So yeah, we're gonna do stand-up, and I'm gonna pitch Phalanx in the graveyard to summon Primera against Ash. This time, I don't care about Primera getting Ash because I already have Emblem Oath, and I also haven't used my normal summon, so I could just normal summon a hand trap too if I needed, but I don't need to because I have Oath. So I'm gonna use Oath, and this is gonna be a little weird. So I'm gonna place Centur-Ion Gargoyle, and I'm gonna skip Autry. I'm gonna go straight into Auxila because we already used Emblem Oath in our combo. There's no point making a Primera Primus because Primera Primus would just search Oath, and we already used it, so it doesn't do anything. So instead, we're just gonna go straight to Auxila. Auxila, Chainlink 1, Gargoyle, Chainlink 2, and Auxila is gonna add our Trudea. And I do this because now I can normal summon Trudea. We haven't used our normal summon yet, and I placed Centur-Ion Gargoyle because I didn't want to lock myself. If I placed Trudea with the Emblem Oath, we would have been locked the rest of the turn because the Trudea would have been in my back row. So instead, we're going to normal summon this Trudea instead after searching it, and then place Autry. And now we can special summon Autry. We have Primera and Emblem of Oath in the graveyard, so we have to draw a card. And here's just one of the perks of playing this deck. We draw cards during our turn with Legacia plus Autry. So we sometimes you just hard draw a Fiendsmith card. So here, yeah, we draw a Fiendsmith card. So now this combo shows what Fiendsmith does. When you already have Centur-Ion combo, obviously Fiendsmith cards can help you get the Centur-Ion combo, and it lets you extend and let you do your Centur-Ion combo through Handtraps. But if you already have your Centur-Ion combo, like we do here, this is what I like to do with the Fiendsmith card. So I use Fiendsmith. Usually you start with Fiendsmith because you want to bait out Handtraps. But if you hard draw a Fiendsmith card like Engraver or Track during mid combo, it still works. You can still extend and do extra stuff with it. So this Requiem, I'm gonna go to Lacrima, put in another Engraver in graveyard, Engraver, shuffle back, Lurie to summon itself back, and we're gonna go Sequence, and Sequence. I'm just gonna shuffle back. What did I shuffle back? It doesn't really matter. I shuffled back both Engravers, very funny, so I can keep Lacrima engraved, special back Lacrima, and then nothing fancy. We just make a 4-material Appaloosa. That's it, pretty much. Just make a 4-material Appaloosa, because you can normally make a 3-material Appaloosa, but I have a Phalanx in graveyard, so might as well get the extra material, and now I can do the rest of my Centur-Ion combo. So now I use Gargoyle. I'm gonna send Trudea. I'm gonna special Gargoyle. I'm gonna Phalanx summon back the Auxila. That was a bit early, but it doesn't really matter. And here I'm gonna go into Legacia. If you're wondering why I didn't make Blaze Art, so funny thing about the text of Emblem of Oath, it says, for the rest of this turn, while you control that card or any card with the same original name, you cannot special summon the extract except Centur-Ion monsters. Because I placed Gargoyle, even though I already synchroed off Gargoyle, I already summoned it and got it off the field and added it back to my hand. The fact that I summoned it again means that then I applied the Centur-Ion lock to myself again after summoning the Gargoyle. So that's very funny in case you didn't know. The lock is then turn wide for the card for the entire turn, not just while that card is faced up on the field. It's for the rest of the turn, including if you summon back that card a second time during the turn. So yeah, that's why we make Legacia. But it's fine, because this is still fine. Legacia is going to draw a card. We're going to set impermanent. We're going to place Autry plus Gargoyle. So yeah, this is still, again, through a Handtrap, through an Ash Blossom, we end on a 4-material Appaloosa thanks to the Fiendsmith engine. We have a Legacia that drew us a card, so we drew 2 cards. We're going to draw another card with Autry, so we're going to draw 3 cards again. We're going to have Blazar access and 3 non-engine in hand, and so on and so forth. Also, by the way, Legacia protects your monsters with 2k or less attack. So this Appaloosa, we can use 2 negates on the Appaloosa, and then it can no longer be run over by battle, thanks to Legacia. So your opponent's pretty much going to have to eat all 4 Appaloosa negates from this Appaloosa as well. Just extra synergy. But yeah, and now our opponent does the worst possible play, which is activate Pressure Planet Rates Off. And that's the worst play because we have a Droll in hand. So they're gonna add Fender, and then this Fender they're just gonna get drolled. I'm gonna make a Blazar, and they're also gonna get drolled. So yeah, cool, very nice, very nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's yeah. If you already have Centur-Ion combo, Fiendsmith gives you an Appaloosa for free, because Appaloosa is still legal in this godforsaken format. So we saw how Fiendsmith can extend our Centur-Ion plays through interruption, and how it can add onto our end board if we already have Centur-Ion engine. This is just straight up Fiendsmith. This is if we don't open any Centur-Ion cards, this is what you got. This is what you got to do. You got to normal summon a Handtrap, and you got to special summon your Bystial. This is why we run Almirage, and then it's nice because our Bystial was Rebellion, so we can just get the Magnamessage, and then we also place Rebellion for the Regained. So yeah, I'm gonna place Regain, and now we get to go into our Fiendsmith combo. So now we go Moon into Requiem, because we didn't open any Centur-Ion cards, which is fine in a deck like this. Our opponent goes Maul Charming Foolhouse, absolutely not. We are gonna Ash that. We're gonna go into Lacrima, send Engraver, we'll put back Moon, spell back the Engraver. We're gonna go into Sequence here, and here our opponent. So this is a very funny interaction. Our opponent goes Nibiru on our Sequence summon. Now I use Crossout Designator. And I use crossing out my Nibiru, and then because my Nibiru is a light monster, well, I get to put back Nibiru with Regain to draw a card. Except my opponent ogres my Regain, so that is the wild that is the wildest interaction I've ever seen in my life. Triggering Regain off the cross out and then getting my regain ogred anyways. Now, if my opponent saw knew what deck I was playing, they should have saved their ogre. But I mean, who's gonna guess that I'm playing fucking Centur-Ion when I lead with normal summon Crow? So, you know, they couldn't have known that I was playing Centur-Ion, but, you know, yeah, you should have let me keep my regain, because now I get to shuffle all these back and I get to do my Centur-Ion combo. And also look at this. So Lacrima, shuffle back, summon back Lacrima. We're gonna go Lacrima plus sequence into Lina, and here Ogre is light monster. I can use Lina and I get to take their Ogre and just take their Ogre for hostage. And now I get to keep this Ogre on my field. I get to use it as if it were my own Ogre, because Ogre can be triggered on the field. Now, you're probably wondering, I have an Ogre in my hand, right? Like, why do I need this Ogre? Well, I mean, Centurion cards, you gotta discard a card for Sam Centurion. So we're gonna go Chorozo and then Chorozo into Centurion Primus line with the Ogre still on the field, and then Primera Primus adds Emblem Move, and here I used Emblem Move. This was a misplay, so you're actually supposed to place. You're not supposed to place stand-up Centurion, you're supposed to place Primera, because I didn't starve Primera. If you don't starve Primera, you should place Primera. That's the line that gets you an extra body. So I lost out an extra body out of this. It works out, but I have to do my combo a little differently now. But yeah, use stand-up. I pitched my Ogre because I already have an Ogre on the field, and I placed Trudea, summon itself, Trudea places Primera, and then Primera specials itself, Primera. I'm going to add a Wake Up Centurion, and then so yeah, as you can see, this is a bit awkward because the Centurion Primera Primus, you cannot synchro a Primera Primus with a Primera because they're both tuners, and unlike Autry, Primera cannot be treated as a non-tuner. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to do Wake Up for level 8 into a level 8 token, and then level 8 token plus Primera go into Auxila. And now I'm no longer Centurion lock, but I don't have any more extenders, so I'm going to use Phalanx, and I'm going to just put Phalanx, dump Autry, and then end phase, place Autry, and have a Phalanx. So I could have ended on Blazar instead of having Phalanx, but at the end of the day, this is still fine. Our opponent threw 2 Handtraps at us, and instead of making the Blazar on my opponent's turn, or instead of making the Blazar on my turn, we're just going to make the Blazar on our opponent's turn, and I have a Phalanx instead of the Legacia pop. So it's okay for the most part. I mean, this is still fine. And don't forget, we stole our opponent's Ogre with Lina. So yeah, what's our opponent playing? So we get the Baldrake as well. And let's see what our opponent's playing. Our opponent was playing Tenpai. So Tenpai, they're going to normal summon Hydra, and then very funny, because they're playing Tenpai, this Ogre is going to just completely destroy them. They're gonna add Sang Summoning. It would be a real shame if there wasn't an Alpha Sang Summoning already on the field here. Yeah, the Ogre NTR. Anyway, we're gonna summon Autry. We're gonna draw a card, and I'm gonna use Autry effect. Play around Dominus Impulse, by the way, against Tenpai. Play around Dominus Impulse. So like, make stand up Chainlink 1, and then Autry Chainlink 2. That way they can't Dominus Impulse your stand up. Against decks that play Purge, if they have a Trap in graveyard and they're a Purge deck like Blue-Eyes, then you want to reverse the order to make Autry Chainlink 1 and then stand up Chainlink 2, so they can't chain and pop the Autry with Purge. But yeah, just keep in mind, play around Purge or Impulse depending on which kind of deck you're playing against. So because Tenpai is the Impulse deck, we're gonna play around Impulse, and yeah, we're gonna draw a card. Would have been nice to draw that last turn, but it's fine. And then we're going to go into Blazar, and my opponent goes Typhon. And, you know, unfortunately for them, we drew this card, we add this card called Centurion Phalanx, so we can just Phalanx the Typhon away, and yeah, that's going to be it. We didn't even have to use the Ogre on their Fiendsmith. Even though we literally had, none of the monsters on our field besides the Ogre even matter, because we already had an Ogre for the Sang Summoning. So we technically could have had an empty board, but you know what? Yeah, because they didn't have a board breaker, they had 2 Handtraps. It was not enough. So if there's one thing that this deck does, is that it usually farms Blue-Eyes. These are some of the closer games I've had versus Blue-Eyes, including this one where my opponent, just look at my opponent's hand, my opponent literally probably opened the best hand that a Blue-Eyes deck could open. Like, they start with Wishes, of course we don't have the Ash for it because we were playing a 60 card deck, can't be that upset. Then they get Lordly Load for Effort Barrel, so they have Primite Engine plus Wishes, and then they set their Drill Beam, and we do have 3 Bystials, and we have a Maxi, of course. they discard Ash, so whenever their opponents discard Ash, they probably have a second one in hand. That's just like, why else would you discard Ash, right? So the Maxi doesn't resolve. Then they go into Spirit Revives of blue, and Spirit's gonna add the field spell, and then Mausoleum is gonna set. They're gonna activate Maiden too, so they're gonna Maiden set the True Light. Mausoleum send Blue Eyes, and here I go Bystial, try to Bystial out the Blue Eyes because I have 3 of them, and they're gonna chain True Light to try to save their Blue Eyes, and then I chain my second Bystial, which they're allowed to. They can try to True Light block my Bystial as free as they want, because they already searched Majesty off the True Light, so they already have their best target. But they already searched Majesty off the Wishes, so they already have their best True Light target in their hand, so they don't need to save this True Light for anything. So they get to block one of my Bystials, and then they're gonna normal summon Sage, because they had both Sage and Maiden, of course. So they get the Search of Valor, and now we're gonna link off this Sage into Spirit, and then the 2 Spirits into Seals, and then they're gonna use Lorely Load to summon out the second Blue Eyes from deck to try and summon back the Maiden. And unfortunately for them, I have the third. I got like 3 Bystials in my hand, so like of course they were never getting the Spirit in this hand. They do end on Blue Eyes though, but still, keep in mind, okay, we had 3 Bystials plus a Maxi, which got negated because they had the Ash, and they still ended on Seals, Drill Beam, Majesty with Valor in hand. 4 interruptions through 3 Bystials. I mean, that's like literally that's they card for card open every single piece of Blue Eyes Engine and Primite Engine that they needed in order to still end on 4 interruptions. So this is still an uphill battle, despite me having 3 Bystials, believe it or not. And my turn to draw the Ash, man. What would have been really nice to have had this for the Wishes, but you know what? Whatever, can't complain. And anyway, enter battle phase. I'm gonna chain Seals, and I'm gonna chain my Druid's Worm on their Seals so they don't get to summon out. In case they have something like a Magnemite, for example, to get more follow up or whatever. And they're gonna Seals bounce their own Lorely Load, which is like whatever. Main phase 2, I go into SP because I only have 2 Link Fuse in here, SP and Moon, and I kind of don't want my Moon to get Drill Beam right now, so I'm just gonna go to SP first. Shriner, send Bystial Rebellion. See if any of this either baits out a Majesty or a Drill Beam. So yeah, I'm gonna Rebellion plays Regain, and nothing so far. So hey, I'm gonna normal summon Primera then, and here I feel like they should have tried to interact with my Bystial Rebellion at least or something. I know I have the SP to block it, but here they're gonna use Drill Beam on my Trudea, which I can try to block, try to target, try to save it with my SP, and then they change Majesty. So this baits out both Majesty and Drill Beam. So right, and because I have the Drill Beam up, my SP dies, and my Primera gets banished and negated. But I do get 1 draw off of the Regain. So what do I draw? I draw a Clutch Lubellion. This Lubellion, we have not used Lubellion's effect yet. I just dumped Lubellion to the grave with Sarnia, but I actually have not used Lubellion to search it. So now we get to search our 4th Bystial. So we have all 4 Bystials in rotation now. I get to search my Magnema, and now they're gonna use True Light. They're gonna set their Roar because they want to get back their banished Blue Eyes, which is fair. So I'm gonna get Magnema, and here I'm gonna Magnema banish their Sage, because like I'm like literally banishing their entire fucking graveyard, their entire deck, and this Magnema gets Valored, which is it's to be expected. I understandable that they would Valor Magnemut. Unfortunately for them, that was absolutely not the correct Valor, because they get jump scared. The Magnemut, it's the add back from Magnemut is nice, but the real reason I wanted the Magnemut was because I wanted to go to Moon to close Heaven. I have no idea if they expected this. I don't think they did. Otherwise, they would have probably held that Valor, because now I get to do full Fiendsmith combo. I get to do full combo into my Centur-Ion Engine too, and they have no more disruptions, as I know. So now they go into sequence. I go into sequence into Lacrima, revive my my other Lacrima, go into Lina, and they of course have a light monster in graveyard, so I take their Valor, and now I go sequence equip to Lacrima, and I send the Valor and the sequence for Chorozo, and the Chorozo plus Primera plus Lacrima going to Primera Primus. Primera Primus adds card, and did you know that Primera Primus also pops the card on both sides of the field too? It's also a Scrap Dragon, so I get to pop my Lina and pop their True Lights. So now I get rid of their Blue Eyes as well, and now I activate Emblem of Oath to place the Trudea, and then Trudea special itself. I was running out of time. This was maybe not the correct pitch, but I didn't want to discard my Ash Blossom. Like normally, at this point, you would either get because I already used Primera this turn. You don't want to place Primera with Emblem of Oath. So normally you would place the field spell so you don't lock yourself into into Centur-Ion monsters, but if you do a field spell, you have to discard the card in your hand, and I have to discard Ash Blossom, which I don't want to do, so I want to get cards in my hand first, so I'm going to go Trudea plays Gargoyle, and then Gargoyle special itself, make it a level 4, and then Gargoyle plus Mirror Primus goes into Auxila, and then Auxila will add stand up, and then the Gargoyle will add itself back to my hand. So now I have a discard for the field spell. So now I'm going to activate stand up, and normally I run out of time. So I ran out of time. I had no more time on my timer, so like that was a whoopsie on my part. But you're supposed to go stand up, pitch the Gargoyle, place Autry because I have a Centur-Ion card and a Emblem of Oath in graveyard, and then Auxila would replace the Autry, and then on my opponent's turn I would special the Autry, and then I would get a draw off the Autry, and I have to regain summon back a Bystial, so I have a Chaos Angel play on my opponent's turn no matter what. I still do, but I lose out on a draw this way, so it's not as good. But it's still fine, because my opponent adds back the Effort Barrel, and now they're gonna normal summon the Effort Barrel, place a second Lordly Low. I'm gonna revive my Bystial Magnuma. So this was actually a misplay, reviving the Magnuma, because I'm gonna use Magnuma's effect, and if my opponent top deck Dominus Purge, that actually would have been really bad, because then my Magnuma would get popped, and I wouldn't be able to synchro with Stand Up and Centur-Ion. I wouldn't be able to go to Chaos Angel. So that was actually like not. It was a greedy play. I probably should have tried to. I probably should have tried to revive something else. That way, you know, at least we play around Purge, because my only lose condition is if my stand-up gets somehow stopped. So, yeah, I played in the Purge there, but I never punished, so now I get to summon Trudea out, and like Trudea level 4 plus level 6 Magnuma goes into Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is going to banish their Effort Barrel so that they can't reset the Drill Beam, so that they don't have Drill Beam access, and when they use Roar to bring back one their Blue-Eyes from banish, I Ash it, and they quit after that. So yeah, that was honestly pretty good hands by both sides. Like what would win? The best Blue-Eyes hand in the world, or 3 Bystials? Actually 4 Bystials, because we top deck another Bystial off the regain. So here we have another game going second versus Blue-Eyes. Significantly worse hands on both sides this time. My opponent does open the Effort Barrel, so they do open the Primite Engine, and I have no real hand trap to interact with this, because I only have a Bystial right now, and that means they get to add Drill Beam for free. And then they're gonna use Drill Beam, summon out their Blue-Eyes, and they're just gonna make seals. So that tells me that they also didn't open any Blue-Eyes engine, they just opened the Primite cards, which is unfortunately that means that the rest of their hand is non-engine. So my opponent goes Seal Set 4. You ever been on the other end of Seal Set 4? This is fucking annoying as hell to play through, let me tell you. So end phase, I am gonna Ball Drake the Blue-Eyes White Dragons that you know, potentially they don't have a so if one of their sets was something like a Majesty's, it wouldn't be live. And also, you know, they have one less draw on their maxi, because I want to call by the grave this Hieratic Seal. This right here, these balls that are asking to get fingered right now. Yeah, so back to my turn, I draw another Ball Drake, which is funny. I activated Regain just to get it on the field. Normal summon Trudea, and the Trudea gets impermed. Like, obviously this Trudea was gonna get stopped. Like, they had 4 back roads, like this was clearly gonna get stopped. And here, I make a Light Dark Chaos Angel, because now if I make a Light Dark Chaos Angel, the seals cannot do anything to the Chaos Angel. They can't bounce my monster back. So now I get to banish one of their other back row. I banish a Crossout Designator. Now, normally, if it were me, I would have Crossout Designator called by the grave, so that to protect my seals, because that's like one of the few cards that like I believe destroys the setup, because they're relying on seals to summon out. Their Drill Beam is not live right now. I'm making a call that their Drill Beam is not live. They want to use their seal to summon a Blue-Eyes from deck to make their Drill Beam live. So there's a lot riding on the seals right now. So I enter battle phase, they're gonna use seals, try to bounce. Well, it doesn't matter what they bounce, because I just called by it. So yeah, this seals gets called by it, and now their Drill Beam is not live, and they don't have follow up, and they didn't even have anything to bounce well in the first place. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna also get the regain draw off of the seal, so that I can potentially see what I'm gonna use stand up. I want to discard a card, so I want to see what I discard. I want to keep the Ball Drake in hand, so I play Trudea, special Trudea effect, plays Gargoyle, special Gargoyle, and this looks real funky. This looks really funky. Right now they have like 2 set cards. One of them is a Drill Beam, so they only have 1 live set card. So I'm like, how good is your set card? So I'm going to go into Fiendsmith Engine now to try to see if I can do anything with this. So Moon into Requiem, and then Requiem, and the Requiem gets called by the grave. So that makes sense. That makes sense why they didn't cross the decks and call by the grave, because one of their back row was also a call by the grave. So they didn't want to turn off their own call by. But I think we came out ahead in that exchange. So yeah, now my Chaos Angels, and my opponent's on nothing because their Blue-Eyes is banished, so they don't even get their Effort Barrel back. And what they top deck? They top deck a Magma. So this is actually a good top deck, but then they banished my Baldrake, so now my Regain doesn't summon anything. But here, gotta be careful here. I don't want to use Regain to put back my Baldrake. I only run one level 10 Synchro, so I need to put this Chaos Angel back. So I let them banish my Baldrake, and then I just keep it banished. And then after that, I use Baldrake, I manage my Chaos Angel, put my Chaos Angel back in the extra deck to draw a card, draw a Jerusalem, nice draw by the way, and then I use Trudea, special Trudea, and then I use Stand Up, and I chain Jerusalem, because now I'm here. I'm going to make the Chaos Angel again, and I'm going to Chaos Angel banish the Lorelei so that they can't use Lorelei to summon another Blue-Eyes from deck, so that their Drill Beam is still dead, and the Jerusalem that I draw can also send the Magnuma to graveyard. So now I'm literally putting them on nothing. I'm putting it on Drill Beam that's dead and a random card in the hand, plus a Magnuma Searching End phase, which is going to be way too late for them. And yeah, my opponent realizes this, and then they like can't. Granted, I don't have Engine either. Like, I actually don't have Engine because my Fiendsmith Engine is gone, and I don't have a Centur-Ion card. But I have Regained plus Chaos Angel, so and my opponent's at like no life points, so they were probably gonna, they were probably dead to life points even if I didn't draw Engine. But yeah, that's that was not Blue-Eyes versus Centur-Ion. That was literally just Primite versus Bystials. So this game, this hand is pretty good. We have I throw 2 Bystials, a Call By, and a Bonfire, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. No matter what they hand trap, I feel like this hand should be able to play through it. So I'm gonna normal summon Trudea, and Trudea gets Valor, and I don't even Call By this Valor because I already have I have 2 Bystials, I have full Fiendsmith combo, and I can even place a Regain on the field. Why would I need to Call By this effect Valor, right? So I'm gonna use Sarnier to banish the effect Valor, and then I'm going to use Sarnier plus Trudea to go into Moon. Sarnier is going to dump Lubellion, and I'm going to just special summon Jerusalem to banish the Sarnier, and then I'm going to go into Requiem, and then Lubellion, tribute the Jerusalem, and then Lubellion place the Regain, and now Requiem get Lacrima send Engraver, shuffle back, shuffle back Moon, go into Sequence, and then Sequence effect, and here I get Imperm. So this was a little unfortunate. If I had known they had both Imperm and Valor, I would have definitely called by. I would have called by the Valor, because like I have this Call By in hand. Unfortunately, I can't Call By Imperm, so Imperm plus Valor does stop my Centur-Ion combo, and it stops my Fiendsmith combo from extending into Centur-Ion. So we're gonna have to settle with going into SP. I'm gonna go SP, banish my Lubellion to draw a card. So shuffle back Lubellion, draw a card, and we draw another Lubellion. So fun fact, I haven't used Lubellion from hand yet, so I'm gonna actually add Magnuma, banish the Lubellion again. So I banished both 2 Lubellions, and I get a search off Magnuma. I gotta get Baldrake, and now this is not ideal because I didn't read my opponent's hand properly. They led Valor instead of Imperm, so it played into tactics, but it also made me less willing to use my Call By on the Imperm, so it was fair. But yeah, we still end on SP with Regain with Jerusalem Engrave, a Baldrake set, a Baldrake in hand, a Call By the Grave, and a DD Crow. So if our opponent so much as sneezes at the graveyard and they're playing a light dark deck, their graveyard's gonna be gone, because we have all the graveyard hate in the world. Hopefully we're playing the matchup where the graveyard hate is good against. And yeah, also Baldrake Tribute Jerusalem is not a bad combination against any deck. So yeah, our opponent's gonna go activate Inclusion, add Sulfefner, and fortunately for them, they're gonna Sulfefner, pop. They're gonna send Inclusion, pop the Sulfefner, activate Sulfefner effect. It's gonna trigger Regain. We're gonna summon back Jerusalem, and it's also gonna trigger Call By, because this Call By that I saved, that I didn't use on the Valor, Instead, we'll use it on the Sulfefner, which is honestly not a bad trade at all. So yeah, now we get the Jerusalem back, and their Sulfefner gets called by it, and now they just don't. Yeah, sometimes you just win games off of your opponent throws their Handtraps and your Centur-Ion combo and your Fiendsmith combo, and you just win with Bystial control and regain control. So yeah, that's Plan C in the deck. So Plan A Centur-Ion, Plan B Fiendsmith, Plan C Bystial regain control, baby. So I know we're in a bit of a limbo period right now in Master Duel. We just have the Worlds Qualifiers, and there's been a balance announced that's not going to take effect for at least a week plus, and we're still waiting on the actual new pack for July. So in the meantime, I've just been playing, stuff that I normally wouldn't be seriously trying if I was practicing or prepping seriously for Duelist Cup, but that I find, a bit more fun to play. Stuff like this deck, for example, Centur-Ion Fiendsmith, and it also, at least the gameplay loop, at least the Fiendsmith stuff I'm doing with this is a bit different than what I normally do with Fiendsmith stuff. Like, you're not doing, the standard, Snake Eyes combos, stuff like that, or you're not doing, the standard Fiendsmith control, Caesar, Paradise, Pass, whatever. There's at least a bit of a variation there, keeping it a bit fresh, keeping it a bit interesting. And, I haven't played Centur-Ion in a while because honestly, I didn't really believe in this deck in the current format, but, this does give it a bit of more teeth in this current format. It gives it a bit more chance of a bit more high rolly, a bit higher ceiling, which is what this deck kind of needs, honestly, to distinguish itself from all the other random mid-range decks. But yeah, see, if you're a Centur-Ion fan, and you own all these cards, which maybe you don't own all the Fiendsmith cards, but if you do, give this a shot. There's, if you want to play a deck that's not very common right now, that you just want to play a bit of a different deck than what's currently being played. But yeah, thank you for watching.